Welcome to Influential Entrepreneurs, bringing you interviews with elite business leaders and experts, sharing tips and strategies for elevating your business to the next level. Here's your host, Mike Saunders.
Hello and welcome to this episode of Influential Entrepreneurs. This is Mike Saunders, the Authority Positioning Coach. Today we have with us Kelly Piles, who's a certified long-term care specialist with Royal Fund Management. Kelly, welcome to the program.
Thank you, Mike. It's a pleasure to be here today.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to talking with you because I always love learning from different people's perspectives. You know, you bring life experience to the conversation. You bring business experience, and everyone has a nuance. And I always find that even if we're talking about the same topic, someone brings some, a unique perspective to it. So before we dive into how you serve your clients, give us a little bit of your background and what your journey was to get into financial services.
Okay, sure. Absolutely. I'm a certified financial planner. So that means I've got expertise in 5 different areas: taxation, investments, insurance, retirement planning, and estate planning. Beyond that, just having that knowledge, I also am a fiduciary, which means I have to do what's right for the client. I have to put their interests ahead of my own. I take that very seriously, and so does the Certified Financial Planning Board. So if I don't put their interest in front of mine, I'm in trouble. So I think that really helps differentiate me from other advisors. I have to look at something from 10 different angles to make sure I'm doing the best things for my clients when I set up a plan. So,
that's a really big point. And people hear that fiduciary, what is that word again? They hear that and they're like, okay. But in reality, give us an example of what that could look like. And I'm kind of thinking like, if you work with, a company that maybe only offers certain products and you're pushing one certain product because that's what corporate tells you to push this and push this, it might not be the best interest of the client, but it's a good enough product. If you're a fiduciary and it's come to light that you're pushing one product over the other because it's benefiting the company or you, that's a big red flag, right?
That's exactly right. So let's say I decide insurance might be right for a client and maybe they need an annuity for some safe money. I'm going to look at all the products out there and I'm going to try to figure out the best fit for the client. I try to ignore what the commission is. It
Yep.
really doesn't matter. A lot of insurance agents out there will put you in a 10-year annuity because that's where they make money. That's,
Yep.
there's a conflict of interest built in there. So I'm going to, if a 5-year product will do the same thing and get you better growth, I'm going to use the 5. In almost every scenario, there are options and there's a lot of bad guys out there. So
Yep.
I pride myself on always trying to do the right thing.
Yeah, I think that should be, the golden rule of treating our clients like they were family, all of those cliche things you hear. But one of the big gold stars by your name is being that certified financial planner, and that fiduciary responsibility kind of gives your clients the peace of mind to know that, okay, she's got my best interest. So that's a huge piece. And you mentioned all the many things that go into helping your clients with their retirement. And there's a whole litany of, whether it's growth and investments and stocks, bonds, mutual funds and insurances, and where does it stop and all of that, right? But let's talk a little bit about how you work with your clients to prepare for making the right decisions regarding Social Security so that it doesn't negatively impact retirement. Because I think that too many times people have that tunnel vision and they think Social Security, I check this box at this age and I'm good to go, right? Well, no, there's a lot of things that go into that, and it leads up to Social Security age. It's not just at a certain time. You need to be planning for this well ahead of the time so that the dominoes don't fall and impact your retirement in a bad way.
That's exactly right, Mike. I try to work with a lot of my clients are already retired, but I work with them and also their kids that are approaching retirement. It's a huge piece of the puzzle, and you can't discard it. When you make a Social Security decision, it's pretty much irrevocable. And it's a huge piece of your retirement puzzle that we really need to get it right. To get you the most benefits. What's getting you the most benefit today may not be the most beneficial in the long run. So we want to look at it again from every angle, and there's a lot of nuances involved in making that decision. So I try to help my clients through all of that.
And you mentioned you have some clients that are already retired, so those Social Security decisions are already made, and then maybe their kids that are facing making Social Security decisions, so they might have some decisions ahead of them. But what are some ways that if you've already made your Social Security allocations and decisions, there's definitely then some financial moves that could be made to make sure that their taxes are benefited or their income streams are protected. So it's kind of like you're looking at it going, okay, whatever you need, I'm going to give you the best advice, and looking forward into making those Social Security decisions. We know that's a big domino that can topple. So talk a little bit about maybe a misconception. A lot of people think Social Security, this age, check this box, done, right? Well, where can that bring up some issues?
Yeah, that's exactly right. And I think a lot of people make their Social Security decision based on, well, my neighbor says, and, and I talked to Joe at the barbershop and he says, and usually what you'll hear from your neighbor is, oh my gosh, take it just as soon as you possibly can, because they're going to go broke. And
Yeah.
that is really not the best basis to make a decision. Oftentimes, we're going to look at what your assets are, what your income's going to be, how much Social Security is going to be, and then we're going to decide, okay, maybe we make a decision to wait till 70. Maybe the wife starts at 66 and the husband, we wait till 70. You don't have to both do it at the same time. And certainly you don't want to do it as early as possible, because you're taking a discounted rate by taking it as early as possible. Sometimes it's the right decision, but most times it's not. And when you take that discounted Social Security, it's discounted forever. They're not going to step it back up once you turn 66 or full retirement age. So those are the kind of things we want to look at. Are there any other alternative income streams we can take so that we can allow Social Security to defer? It actually grows. Most people don't realize this. It actually grows at about 8% from full retirement age to age 70. So it may really benefit you in the long run to let it grow.
Is that
So
8% per year?
that's exactly right.
And is that compounded?
Yes, it is.
Okay, so
So
you know how Einstein said, compound interest is one of the wonders of the world, and you think about 8% between this age and that age, but if you really ran the numbers and looked at your number and said, okay, but if I waited from this age to this age and added in that compound effect, that could be a pretty substantial number. And like you said, you might not think yourself like, oh, well, I must have it because, but maybe if someone's looking at your situation going, yeah, but what if we made this move and did this and we could free up and we could find, and that allows you then to wait. So I think that's huge. And I had to chuckle when you're like, oh, well, my neighbor said, or Bob at the barbershop said, those word of mouth recommendations are wonderful for a restaurant referral. Like, where should I eat? But not getting long, deep Social Security advice. And, the old Social Security's going broke, myth that's been going on for 30 plus years,
that's exactly
and it's almost like, and I know that people can take one side of the argument or the other, but it's almost like Social Security cannot go broke. The government must fund it and make sure that it has that stability. So don't listen to Bob at the barbershop or your neighbor, for more than just, restaurant referrals. Get with someone that can really give you some of this great advice. So, delaying claiming could be a great idea, and maybe don't discount that right away. If you don't think, oh, I can't wait, I have to, maybe talk to someone like Kelly, because maybe she can look at some options and opportunities, and it's almost like you become a life coach of sorts, because it's like, what does retirement really look like for you? And what if we put this off? Or what if you didn't fully retire, but you worked, consulted 2 days a week, and then that could also help you delay some of the claiming, right?
That's exactly right. And this holds true for single folks as well as married folks. When you're single, strategies are a little bit different. But perhaps you're divorced. You may be able to claim Social Security based on your ex-husband's earnings if you were married long enough. So there's a lot of nuances out there depending on your situation. And again, just like you said, Joe at the barbershop, he doesn't know your asset situation.
Yeah.
He doesn't know your life situation, what your goals are. So you really need some help. Almost no one understands the rules.
And it's like that old saying, you don't know what you don't know. like you
Correct.
just said about, divorced spouse and claiming on their benefit. You might be divorced and think, good riddance, and there's the line, and we've severed, and they've got their life and I've got mine. But what if there's a way that you can get Social Security benefits based on the ex-spouse and you just didn't know that? That could be a huge benefit for the one spouse, and you don't know till you check it out. And so that might be like an aha right there. Like, wait a minute, that's almost like, you ever heard those, the state of Colorado or Florida, wherever that goes. Hey, check the database of unclaimed property and assets, and you might have some money there waiting for you. And lo and behold, you log in. It's like, wow, I forgot that I had that, and give it to me. It's been sitting there for you this whole time. You just didn't know it was there for you.
That's exactly right. And nobody's going to reach out and tell you this.
Nope.
You've got to find it out on your own, unless you work with a professional. So,
Well, that kind of brings me to another thought, like listening to you talking. It's like, okay, I'm really busy, so I'm just going to go. Yeah, I'm not going to talk to Bob at the barbershop. I get that, but I'm just going to go to my handy Google, because I Google everything, right? But the problem is, I don't know the answer to this, but I'll bet you if you Googled certain Social Security related questions, there's tens of millions of entries. And what in the world do you pick and trust, and anything's out there? So I think a lot of people feel like, well, I'm just going to research online, but that could backfire on them, right? Because again, it's just information.
that is correct. And you don't know the right questions to ask
Yeah.
Google a lot of times. So, yes, you're going to get, 100 different answers just on the first page. And even if you go to the best source, usually is SSA.gov, the Social Security Administration website. Even when you go there, it's hard to read. It's confusing. And if you don't know the right questions and what you're looking for, you're probably not going to get the right answers. You
Yep.
really need help navigating it. It's tricky waters, that's for
Well, I
sure.
remember way back in the day, I used to work at a bank, and I remember this was back in the mid 90s, and online banking became a thing, and people were just, so worried, like they're going to shut down all bank branches. No one's going to have jobs. And no, that's not the case, because they want to go in and talk to a human. Right. Well,
Yes.
you mentioned SSA.gov. Okay. Well, I'm confused on the website, but I can go down to my local Social Security Administration office and I can sit down and talk to a human. Won't they give me good information?
Well, that's a great question. You certainly can, and you can sit there for 6 or 8 hours, and maybe they'll see you.
Well, yeah, there's that. Like DMV.
Yep, you usually have to wait for, 3 and 4 weeks to get an appointment there, but, they're doing their best, and they take their time, and they wanna get you the best answer that day, but their job is to get you the most benefits that you can that day.
Yeah.
But again, it may not be best for you in the long run. You may be better off. They're not going to know the strategy that's right for you based on
Right.
your personal situation. They don't know that have an ex-husband who made more money, or that you have assets in the bank that you could easily wait a couple of years and let your secured Social Security compound at 8%. So they don't have the tools to help you the way a financial professional would.
Yeah, that's a great point. And then like there's a lot of quote unquote financial professionals, because like the bullet point list of what is a financial professional could be just someone that sells insurance only, or a certified financial professional like yourself. So there's also a difference between just someone in the financial services world and then someone that has specialized knowledge with Social Security, like what you're talking about. So talk a little bit about some of the tools and strategy, access to strategy that you have, that you're able to bring then to your clients and say, okay, here's what we know about you. We've done this exhaustive, a discovery session. Now let me work my wonders and run it through. Do you have software algorithms that can bring back some scenarios and go, if you did this, here's what it would look like. But if you did that, here's what it looked like. And is it presenting options to people?
Yes, I do, Mike. And that's so important. I believe in options, and there's no such thing to me as a retirement plan that's written in stone. Life is a journey, and things pop up and things change. So we need to be, we need to be adaptable. So when I put together a plan for a client, I have some pretty comprehensive software that I use to be able to show them every single scenario of, okay, hey, what if we waited on Social Security to age 70? This is what it would look like. This is where we would drive from your assets until then. Hey, what if we took it early? What would that do to our plan? And I can show you, what the effects of your net worth at age 100 by making these decisions. I also have extensive back office support. I have a team of experts that I have access to help me with all the advanced Social Security strategies that are available. So, it's not a decision that I can tell you the first time I meet you. I need to know your whole situation. We need to look at the whole puzzle before we can build it. So.
Yep. That's an excellent point. So there's so many things that go into making these decisions, and because you must, and you would anyway, your personality is, I will do the best by my clients, but that fiduciary responsibility sure is that peace of mind. So if someone's listening to this going, let me see what my options are, guide me in some of the things that I could be considering, what's the best way that someone could learn more and then also reach out and connect with you, Kelly?
Great. I actually have a Social Security book that I can send out to my clients electronically. I also have, of course, hard soft copy versions. But they can reach out to me via email. I have a website. It's kellypilesfinancialadvisor.com. My company name is Royal Fund Management. And I'm here in Central Florida, but I have clients all over the country. So that's really not an issue for me, especially nowadays with Zoom and podcasts and everything else. So
yep, we're available virtually. That's the way that we are. So that's awesome. So thank you so much for coming on, Kelly. It was a real pleasure talking with you.
You as well, Mike. Thank you so much for your time today.
You've been listening to Influential Entrepreneurs with Mike Saunders. To learn more about the resources mentioned on today's show or listen to past episodes, visit www.influentialentrepreneursradio.com.